What is good, everybody? Welcome back to Real Fan Sports. My name is Zach. I'm here with my partner, Nonpfixion. What's good with you, brother?
Brother, I'm chilling, man. Pretty interesting day of football, but what you got for us today?
Well, we're going to get away from the ball sports, and we're going to move into some race, I guess not race cars, some F1 cars. We got Las Vegas Formula One coming up this weekend, and we need a little refresher on the rules. So this week, we're going to be doing a lot of Formula One in preparations for that race. I know I'm excited. Are you?
Looking forward to it. Hope
Absolutely. Well, this is going to be a second part of a video that we done before by Cleo, Abram. Formula One cars explained for rookies, but it's going to be featuring the great Max Verstappen. Let's do it.
All right, let's get it.
Speeding and
all lines up. Brand new season, brand new dawn for Formula One.
I'm looking at the brand new car for the #1 team of the world's most popular car racing sport, Formula One, with the current world champion driver, Max Verstappen.
Would you like to come and see the car?
Yes. And we're going to show
What kind
you
of dumb
what
question
it
is that?
takes
Of course I
to
do.
build and drive some of the fastest and most expensive cars in the world. Because the thing is, these aren't just cars. Think of them instead as epic group science projects where 10 teams all fight to be first. And on every team, there are hundreds of people spending millions of dollars, all working together to push technology to its limit. In this video, I'm gonna give you rare access into the factory in England where they build these cars, and into a garage in Bahrain where they race them. This is Formula One Cars Explained.
Yo. First off, I was saying this before we started doing this video. Man, Cleo Abram and her team and how they create these videos and stuff like that, man, it is top class. It is. It doesn't get much better than this, man.
Definitely good quality, yeah.
Huge if true, okay?
I am on my way to the Red Bull factory. We're gonna get into some of the nitty-gritty engineering details.
The nitty-gritty?
We're also gonna talk about the basics of a Formula One car. This is Jack. Jack's gonna get us into all of the secret rooms.
I will do my very best.
He's doing a finger scan to get us in.
So Cleo, welcome to Red Bull.
Oh, I'll tell you what, that's one nice front office. Walk in and just see that wall. Jesus.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's insane. My God, it's even bigger than I thought.
This is badass. What should I look at?
Everything.
What should I look at?
The reason why we have this here is that when people arrive for work, they know what they're here to do, which is to win trophies. Yeah.
Oh,
It continuously helps build pride to the product, because you see what your work, regardless of how minuscule your part of the project is. You see what it went to, and you see how big it really is.
And show the expectations of, those that have gone and left, that retired and whatever, and you're coming in, and this is the standard that they want you to uphold. That's why you work the harder hours. That's why you're constantly grinding and putting in the effort that other people aren't. You might feel like, oh, it's not, is it worth it? You look at that wall and you know why it's worth it,
Most definitely.
Are all race-driven cars from our history in the sport.
That's cool.
Starting on the left-hand side with our first car, and then finishing on the right-hand side with the RB16B, the 2021 championship winning car. The RB7 actually isn't here, and the reason for that is we do crazy things with the car. So you may have seen it do a donut on the top of the skyscraper. We've done a pit stop in zero gravity.
Leave it to Red Bull, man.
You can touch the car, it's fine.
It's so beautiful.
The driver actually has to spend about 3 or 4 hours.
Dude, that's the one thing Red Bull does. They do everything to the extreme, man. All the different little events that they do, whether it's with, cars or bikes or skateboard, like, it don't matter. Any type of extreme sport, they do some of the craziest stuff.
Almost definitely.
Yeah.
Sat down in the car getting their seat fitted. So we sit them in some clay, essentially, and they sort of get the seat formed around them.
A Formula One car looks kind of similar
Yeah.
to other race cars that you might have seen, like these in IndyCar. Single seat, open cockpit, but there's something that makes a Formula One car special. In IndyCar, all of the cars have to use the same frame or chassis, so winning really depends on how you race that car. But in Formula One, each team has to design and manufacture their own cars. So winning starts here at the factory with how you build your car. But you can't just build whatever you want.
We design a car based on the regulations that the FIA and F1 provide us, and so that really stipulates how the cars look, what shapes they are.
That's the formula in Formula One. Teams fight to find the best design within these rules.
The
Okay.
incredible thing with Formula One for me is
I was
that you have
curious as what formula exactly meant. Okay, so it's more relying on like the blueprint of like what they're doing.
Yeah,
It's the formula, the
yeah.
blueprint that's putting it together. Okay.
10 teams that come together to race. They've all designed and built their own individual car, but you arrive at the track and everybody's within, a second of each other over a lap, which is quite incredible in itself. But the only way that you gain an advantage in Formula One when the margins are so slim is to look at every area that you can possibly can to eke performance.
The rules say that each team can spend $135 million per year, minus driver salaries. I know that sounds like a lot, but in the race to
It's a little bit of
win,
money.
it means that every decision needs to get the best bang for the buck.
The amount of engineering that goes into building these cars is next level.
So does that include failed attempts? Like if they have, a budget of 135 and they test something out, they allocate, 500 grand to a project or an idea and it doesn't work. So then does that still goes away from the budget? Is that like a common factor?
I believe that the final product that's put on the track can't total more than 135 million. That's what I believe.
Okay.
That's what to me that makes sense because everybody, like we learned in the first video, a lot of people do things and try to manipulate these little things to make the car a little bit faster or a little bit more maneuverable. And if you make a mistake and you lose 100 and some thousand, 500,000, I don't think it takes away from the initial car build. You just lost a lot of money right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're using many of the same techniques, many of the same technologies that NASA or SpaceX would use to design their rockets. We apply them to designing our own rocket that goes around the racetrack.
So this is the public display room. Now we're going into the secret, what do we call this room?
The warehouse.
The warehouse. Whoa! Yeah, this feels cooler.
It's so funny. As soon as you drive in there, as soon as you walk in there, it feels like you walk
Who are
into
these cars?
So
a
these are a
humongous Hot
variety
Wheels
of
set.
different cars from throughout
Yeah,
history.
right.
There's some show cars, but
Just a little collection. It ain't
'cause
nothing
when
much.
you buy the Hot Wheels for your kids or whatever, they always like sit in
Also
these
some
little
race
plastic
cars.
bins
Oh my
sideways.
God, this is so cool. Can I walk
Careful,
here?
cat.
I have a question, you're gonna say no. Can I sit right there?
yes,
He didn't say no.
just be really careful not to nail your head on the banister above as you get up.
Welcome to my crib.
Every Formula One team's goal is to create the two fastest cars possible within the rules, so their two drivers can beat the other teams around different shaped tracks all around the world, racking up points to win the Constructors' Championship. And for the last 2 years, the team that has done that is Red Bull, by a lot. Here are the winners of every race last year. And here's Red Bull.
So someone in the comments, let us know, like, why is it that Red Bull is just so advanced? And they said 2 years they've won it, and we're looking at the last 22 races that basically everybody or every race except for race 15, they've taken it.
Yeah.
What is that? What is driving them to be so successful in this sport? Is it the drivers? Is it the crew? Like what does it boil down to?
It's a combination of everything because it's the thing about racing. From what I've always understood, every part is essential to the total equation. And if you're lacking on one specific section, it makes sense sometimes why you don't win. But also having two of the probably best drivers in all of F1, it's kind of hard to say, oh, well, we know part of the reason why they're winning is because you have Max Verstappen, who's the number one big dog in F1,
Yeah.
And then, so.
See that?
Yeah. So how do they do it? What makes a winning Formula One car? This is the car that won all of those races. And this is one of the aerodynamicists who helped design it.
So this is RB19. This is last year's car that obviously was incredibly successful and we're all very proud of.
A winning Formula One car needs to do two things: make super quick turns and go extremely fast in a straight line. The challenge is that the things that make a car very good at one make it harder to be great at the other. The team that can design the car that does both the best takes home the trophy. Let me explain. First, to make a quick turn, you need a strong grip on the ground.
Going back to pure fundamentals, what we want to do is generate what's called downforce.
More downforce means stronger grip, which means quicker turns. So how do you create more force down? Think of a Formula One car like an airplane upside down. On a plane, the air moving across the wings lifts it up. But here, the air across the car forces it down.
So that is where the air literally sucks the car into the ground.
To get it to suck, you need higher pressure above the car.
It's almost like it's like making a almost like a vacuum to the ground. Like
That's exactly what they're looking to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of crazy.
And lower pressure below. And one way to get lower pressure air is to get it moving really fast.
Low pressure is effectively high velocity air. So you want to be able to speed up the air as much as you possibly can under the floor and effectively slow it down as much as you can on top of the floor.
Here's the part I think is really cool. A good way to get fast, lower pressure air isn't for it to just shoot under the car in a straight line. It's to create tiny tornadoes under the car. They don't say tiny tornado though, they say vortex.
A highly powerful vortex. That in itself generates a lot of low pressure because it's a structure that
High velocity air.
those structures then run down the length of the floor and they generate low pressure for a very long region.
So they have all these tiny tornadoes that help
Interesting.
suck the car
Yeah.
toward the ground to give it better grip to make faster turns. At top speed, a Formula One car generates a downforce 3 or 4 times the weight of the car.
What's
Meaning
interesting
this
is
car could
how I visualize it, because they're making vortex, so therefore the wind is going this way. You can see why I'm going. Wind goes this way and it comes this way. So this part that's here is what's pulling it and keeping it to the ground and pulling the ground, and then it pushes it forward. So actually, to imagine the vortex makes so much sense in my head as far as why they do it and how they do it. It makes plenty of sense to me.
Yeah. I instantly went
Science!
to I instantly went to I took a class on fluid mechanics, and obviously it's not fluid, but when he's talking about going underneath and like creating those whirlwinds, it's what I believe I was trying to look it up. I think it's called a turbulent flow is what that's called, whereas the other one, I can't remember what the other one's called. But it flows more regularly, and turbulent flow is a little more chaotic, and that's exactly what I thought of, and that when it comes to fluid and not just air.
could theoretically drive on the ceiling. But all of this downforce comes at a cost. To go super fast in a straight line, you need to knife through the air with as little drag as possible. But as you create more downforce,
it normally comes with added drag, which is preventing the car moving through the air. So it's a resistive force.
for example, look at this back
Interesting.
wing. It generates downforce on the turns, but it feels like a big parachute slowing the car down in a straight line, which is why Formula One teams are allowed to build in a control that the driver can press to flip part of that wing down, allowing the car to zoom
Yeah,
down
I
the
have
straight
seen
even
that.
faster. This is called the drag reduction system, or DRS. Designing a winning Formula One car means balancing all of these different effects, pushing the rules and the limits of physics to
Laminar. It just came. It's turbulent and then laminar flow. That's what it's talking about.
get a little more grip and a little more speed.
It's in that brain
This is a
somewhere.
question that I'm sure you're going to say no to. Is there any chance in hell that I can sit in this car?
I don't think it's up to me, but
Jack?
You can sit in the car.
Thank you.
I've got something rather special for you to wear while you're in the car. Pop that on. We'll get you in the car. See how you look being a Formula One driver.
That's
How are you
so
feeling in there,
epic.
Cleo?
This is so cool. Let me just describe what this feels like. My
I feel like that big middle piece would be such a distraction for me. I wonder if that's part of the reason why some people didn't want the Halo, because of that visual impairment, that they didn't like it. And then
Possibly.
I mean, obviously good thing it's there,
Yeah,
but
yes, yes, it is very much so.
legs are above my butt, so I'm sitting like that. My legs are like that, and my back is here like that. So I feel sort of vulnerable. My entire field of view is what's happening in here. I'm getting more and more claustrophobic as I talk to you, which is interesting. The idea of going 200 miles an hour in this car is terrifying, and I can't
It
believe
would be
people do it.
frightening.
yeah, absolutely.
I have a totally new appreciation for what this feels like. The butt, I have to admit, is quite comfortable. This is clearly crafted for someone's butt. Max Verstappen's butt, apparently.
That is actually going to come up in my conversation with Max Verstappen, but more on that in a minute. Eventually, I had to get out of my dream car, because now that we've learned the design goals of a Formula One car, it's time to see how they actually make it.
All right, down to
As every
manufacturing.
team works on
Let's see it.
designing their cars, they're constantly testing those designs in computer simulations, in physical rigs that mimic a moving car, and in big wind tunnels. One of my favorite details is because Formula One limits how much teams are allowed to test full-size cars in a wind tunnel, they build these little 60% scale versions of their cars and test those. One reason that Formula One cars are so light and fast and strong is that basically every part of the car that you can see is made of a material 10 times stronger than steel, but half the weight. Carbon fiber.
Would it be good if I had a piece?
Yeah. Do you have a piece of carbon fiber? Whoa, cool.
I admit this is quite a substantial block.
Can I hold it? How heavy is this? Oh, it's heavier than I thought.
You can see the structure if you look on the side. So that's when it's layered up.
Why is this material used
That's
so
cool.
often throughout the car?
With its
I've never actually like seen carbon fiber like raw like that, just in a block form. Like obviously not in person, but even in the video, it's not what I expected it to look like.
Yeah, I was expecting something different, but I've never seen a big block either. I've seen smaller, thin stuff for people doing their bikes and stuff back in the day. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
strength to weight ratio being so good, it means that you can make it extremely light whilst it retaining a lot of structure and a lot of strength. So if you hold it up, you can actually see light through it there. So it does have a sort of fabric quality to it.
Woven carbon.
To create the carbon fiber parts that they need, teams manufacture patterns in the right shapes and then lay down carbon fiber cloth, sometimes in 100 layers. Then they suck all the air out and shove them into basically a pressure cooker to squeeze the layers together with resin.
Oh, okay.
Then they cut and measure those carbon fiber pieces and other metal parts with huge programmable machines.
It looks like it's getting a milk bath.
The whiteness is down to the additive that gets added to the water to make sure it doesn't.
Is it just getting hydroblasted there, or is the water just cooling it off? It didn't look like it's a hydroblast. I'm not sure what exactly that is.
I'm not sure exactly, but it could be a hydroblast.
Yeah. That's so sick. How I didn't realize like how they actually applied it. The fact that, they suck all the air out, but then, put in that big cooker to basically just form that mold even more, tightly fitted. That's so sick.
rust the machine.
I don't know if you can fully appreciate how
Technology's
big
so
this
dope,
is,
man.
but there are dozens of these boxes just in this massive room in front of us. All of the parts for the RB20, the new Red Bull car, are being manufactured in this room right now in these white boxes.
That's insane.
Pretty cool. Any chance I can look in?
I can imagine so, yes. I think it's more about not getting it on camera.
For the metal parts of the car, which kind of metal they use depends on what they need it to do.
Not getting it on camera.
Right, yeah, we ain't showing no
Propriety
stuff.
information right there. I wonder how much one of those units costs. How much thing costs?
Oh man, I couldn't even imagine.
Aluminum, or
At least.
aluminium as he's calling it. So this is a lot of what the car is made out of.
We use aluminium throughout the build of the car for certain parts and components.
Okay.
Which is generally light, fairly strong.
Do you want to try that one? It is quite...
Holy cow! It's hard to show visually how different these objects are, except maybe how much I'm trying to hold. I could probably do 20 reps like this until my arm fell off. Like, this is very heavy.
So that's dense cement, which is an alloy which we use to add weight to the car. We sometimes add weight into the car when the driver isn't up to weight, so we have to have a minimum weight of the car.
Yeah.
So we'll use tiny strips of this throughout the car to bring the car up to weight.
There are thousands
Just so interesting, like the amount of science that goes into it, of like having like the purpose, the perfect mixture of balance between being light but heavy enough to keep it grounded, to go along with that downward pressure from the wind. So
it makes sense. It makes sense because of the science advancements, how much it actually influences the actual car industry, like the safety aspect too. So it's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, I just love how it's like once they say it, it's like you would ask me before this, like, what do they do to make a F1 car be as fast and as good as what it is? I wouldn't be able to explain it, but as soon as I watch this, it's like, oh, well, that makes sense. It's like, oh, it really is that simple, ain't it? Like, I mean, in the simplest of terms, it's not that hard.
Terms,
it's not that hard to understand. It's kind of nuts.
of pieces that make up a Formula One car. And after they're designed and molded and machined, some of them need to get painted. The paint job on a Formula One car is a big deal to fans, especially the moment that it's released and they see the car for the first time. And teams spend a lot of effort to design something that's gonna look beautiful. But the paint isn't just to be pretty, it's gotta go fast. For example, a lot of the sponsor logos that you'll see on these cars aren't stickers, because even that tiny little edge would create unwanted drag. They paint the logos on. Watching these cars get built, it's just astonishing to me how much detail and
Reminds me of was it West Coast Customs, man? I used to love when they would do different paints and stuff like that. I always thought it was sick, especially if when they went in and did like the hand painted designs and stuff into it. I've always thought that was so cool.
Yeah, there's a guy I catch every once in a while on YouTube. He does like the pinstriping by hand.
Yeah,
and it's like that's
so satisfying. Yeah, hell yeah.
Design and effort goes into the finished car that we see on track.
This is what Geico does so your rates won't increase with your first
accident forgiveness.
Yes. Oh, Geico offers this.
The engine.
Now we're headed to the most secret room yet, where this team is building their new engine.
This is one of the world's most advanced engine development facilities. This isn't just an engine, this is a Formula One engine.
Right now, Red Bull buys engines for their cars from Honda, but that's about to change. In 2026, Red Bull's cars will use their own custom engines that they're working on right now, and we're about to be one of the first
that's a
to
big
go see
move.
it.
So that is a big move.
Big move. Like you're saying that you really believe that you're building a better engine than Honda, who you've used forever.
Right, and they've been in the automobile industry forever and ever. You know what I mean?
Like you 2026, you can't make a mistake.
Yeah,
because you're gonna be your engines in there.
Right,
you're gonna be at fault.
But I guess that's just the trust into what they do as the industry, where it's like they have full trust in what they can build and what they've done through over the years to prove that they think they can take it even a step further than where they're at already, which is so sick.
This building here wasn't here.
2
years ago in June was our first engine. And when you see the workshops, you'll see what we've been doing. It's pretty impressive.
Why does it matter to build a Formula One engine yourself?
Control and the tie-in between the chassis and the engine is paramount, really. You know, you have a better working together, your aerodynamics and everything, all that side of it is the way to win.
This team's big bet is if they invest a ton of money and time into a custom engine, they can eke a little bit more speed and control out of their car, and ultimately win more races.
Can you hear me? Okay. So what's happening right now is I'm in the super secret engine room, but we can't actually show anything close to the new engine. But I'm standing in front of the real Formula One engines. I just can't show them to you. They're gonna hate me. Okay, so this is the engine that I can show you.
Whenever that gets
can
released,
show you.
If it hasn't already been released, this was posted 7 months ago. If someone knows if they've done a release of what their new engine looks like, if it goes over the differences, someone let us know. I'd love to see what they ingenuitively came up with. Yeah, that'd be so sick.
And the reason why little bits are covered up is that those are the secret parts that you're not allowed to see. If I'm working on a Formula One team, working on an engine, what is the goal? Is it maximum power, smallest size? Is it light?
Power, you want as much power as possible because the driver will ask for more power. Even if he's got the most powerful engine, he will want more.
To understand why this engine is so cool, let me explain how the engine in your car works and how it compares. Okay, so your car probably has a 4-stroke internal combustion engine, and a Formula One car does too, which means there's a cylinder, and inside there's a piston that goes down, up, in 4 strokes. In the first one, air and fuel rush into the chamber. Then they get compressed and the pressure builds. Then a spark ignites the mix and it explodes, shoving the piston down and turning a set of gears, generating mechanical movement that turns the wheels of the car. Then the piston lifts back up and pushes the remaining gas out. That whole process happens inside one cylinder, and there are 6 of them in a V shape, which is why it's called a V6 engine. Your car might have anywhere from 4 to 8, depending on what you drive.
Did not know that, and again, makes so much sense. Had no idea that's what the V actually stood for.
I knew that part.
Yeah, look, I don't have to. My grandpa was a master mechanic, but he never showed me any of that stuff. Rest in peace, Grampy. But nobody else in my family are into cars and stuff like that, and I never thought to ask my grandpa when I was growing up. Probably one of my biggest regret, not learning more about these kind of things.
Me being older, I've been around before cars were super electric, so you had to kind of learn some of this stuff to maintain your own car sometimes.
Yeah, just do basic maintenance. Yeah.
drive. But one big difference between your car and a Formula One car is the maximum number of cycles, that down, up, down, up.
What was covered
Each engine
is
can
that
complete.
area where the pistons are.
Mm-hmm.
That's there. I was wondering, when I was looking, I was like, they covered the piston. I was like, so they did something different.
It is something different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Per minute. Your car, about 6,000. A Formula One car, over 15,000. That contributes to more power to go faster. Plus, these cars combine a bunch of other technologies to get a little bit more oomph, like a turbocharger, which compresses air before it enters the cylinder, so it packs more punch when it's then.
Love the sound of a turbo, bro. Love the sound of it. I've only ridden in 3, but I've driven 1. And oh my God, it's so much fun. It is so much fun. I was like, whenever I drove, it was my dad's friend, and I was borrowing it to go to the gym. And he was like, all right, look, be careful. This thing's got a turbo on it. It's quick. And I was like, all right. So I get back, and I definitely hit it on the interstate. And he's like, so did you put your pedal down? I looked at him. He's like, it's okay. You can say you did. I said, yeah, I did. He goes, hell yeah. He said, did you like it? I said, fuck yeah, dude. I was like, I want one.
Lit on fire. And a motor and battery system that repurposes energy from the brakes and exhaust. The whole thing all together is the powertrain of a modern Formula One car. It's a great example of why Formula One cars actually matter for people like you and me. It's not that this tech is brand new. It's that it's combined and tweaked and perfected by hundreds of smart people with millions of dollars to make it better. And those changes help inspire better car tech for all of us. The engines that they're building here are based on rules for 2026, which will use less fuel and more electricity, and therefore make a slightly different sound. And we got it.
It's definitely the piston. They did something different.
They tweaked something in there. They changed something up in there.
Can you hear that? So that's the new engine running?
Correct, yeah. You're allowed to hear it. You're not allowed to see it.
Just running by. Ooh. What did that noise change mean?
So it really just revved up the speed, basically, and it's now going into this automated power curve. You can hear it's coming down in speed. So with every single speed, we take a measurement, next speed, measurement, next speed, measurement.
So they're testing it at different speeds, they're running power curves to see how it performs.
It simulates like when they hit the corners, when they're hitting brakes to get around somebody, when they're like edging behind somebody. It's this all, it makes sense. They're just simulating electronically without the physical car how it would actually work on a track.
Just how no, for sure.
Time, always.
And it's like I've seen and I've worked with some of those boards, because this is basically the same thing of what I'll be doing in the field that I'm studying right now, just different industry, but it's the same viewpoints. It's basically a graph, and it'll have a line curve, and it'll show different highs and lows and where it stables out at, and you can tweak. There's different things that you can tweak. There's like, at least for hours, it's like 6 different things, and you could ramp it up to where it'll tweak it faster, but sometimes that makes it be more chaotic, or it could do it slower, but then it takes a little more time, and so it's finding that balance that you need. That's so sick.
Wide open throttle, which means everything we have, right?
Now that we've seen how they build these cars, it's time to see where they race them. And that means that we need to go to Bahrain.
It's interesting. They test them out in Bahrain. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
We're here. Here we go. Hi. No, I am not allowed to video any of this.
Turn one away, so you're a couple of kilometers away.
Does this ever get old? 20 years in?
No, of course not.
Every day is different.
I can't believe I'm here.
This is the new car, RB20.
Yeah, I'll say that question is only different for somebody who's not a car person. If you're a car person, it never gets old.
No, you're excited about a just a new tire coming in. It's just like, holy shit!
Exactly. Like how it's gonna change your car, the dynamics. Yeah,
it's like me. Not as much anymore. Getting back into it, being a big gym person, like just getting new dumbbells. Coolest shit ever. 20 pounds, still weighs 20 pounds, but man, I'm just so happy to get a hand on the new ones. Like it hypes me up. I'm getting so excited for a new workout when I'm using equipment that I haven't seen before. It's simple, same but different, man.
And you might recognize these guys.
Yeah.
Their job is to take the incredible cars that hundreds of people just built and speed them up over 200 miles an hour, facing forces sometimes greater than 5 times normal gravity, fighting off competitors to bring their team over the finish line first. These drivers are legends. Max Verstappen has been dominating Formula One recently. Remember those Red Bull win records? Here's just Max's wins. Yeah.
What does it feel like to drive a Formula One car?
Imagine sitting in a roller coaster and it basically just shoots off, but then like 5 to 10 times worse, while having a steering wheel in your hands with all the buttons. Back in the day when my dad was in F1 when I was a little baby, basically, I sat in it and, you know, it's very cute, the pictures, but the very first time that I sat in the car and I was gonna drive it myself, I was a little bit nervous. Even I, to this day, sometimes when I do that, I get this, like, it shoots off. You have this, like kind of feeling.
Yeah.
I still have that in an F1 car sometimes.
That's crazy. This doesn't get old, I
And for
guess.
these cars, since no two drivers are the same, no two Formula One cars are quite the same either, even for the same team.
They have like a whole book of measurements for myself, from Max, so they know exactly my seat position, my pedal position, my steering position.
The seat is very important. It's a carbon seat. You're naturally in a very unnatural position.
I actually got to sit in what I think.
Yeah, when she sat in that, I was like, that just can't be comfortable. It's almost, you're almost like lean back. It's like you're like half laying, half sitting. Like I just can't imagine that being comfortable.
I feel like
at all.
they have lower back problems. I feel like
Possibly.
drivers have lower back problems.
But it could be designed purposely to help with how your body like reacts to the different G forces that you're getting as well. Maybe it helps in a way. I don't really know. I wonder.
I mean, it could. It could. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of the technology that they use to manufacture that part of the car. So I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, but I'd imagine too. I imagine your back is quite sore after.
Yeah, because the way they're bent, like a person laying in bed playing with their phone. You know what I'm saying? That's how it looks.
Yeah,
you would have neck problems and eventually lower back problems eventually.
Possibly.
What was your seat in the RB19 in the factory?
It's probably a bit wide.
Actually, it was kind of a good fit.
Did I just tell world champion Max Verstappen that our butts are the same size? Anyway, here's what their steering wheel looks like. And here's one of the engineers who helped design it.
Would a steering wheel for each of the different teams look totally different?
Yeah, so they all look very different.
On every team's custom wheel, there are dozens of buttons and knobs and switches, all meant to optimize the engine and the tires and the brakes and much more in every possible scenario, all while the driver is driving.
The drivers memorize all the buttons so they can do it without actually looking at the wheel. Sorry. No, we're good.
You might have to go do a pit stop.
If I run,
At any
there's
moment.
a pit stop.
That was a pit stop, at least once every race. Every car needs to exit the track and enter their pit box, where roughly 22 members of the pit crew swarm the car to quickly change the tires and other parts. A good pit stop is less than 2 seconds. They give out a trophy for fastest pit stop, and when we were at the Red Bull factory, we got to see theirs.
These tires just came off the car, and they are hot. Like,
Yeah.
hold on. Now it hurts. That's how hot.
I got to try stacking these tires, and listen, they've got a really hard job.
Couple more tries.
It didn't fall.
The tire options are the same for each team. For each race, they all get a hard, medium, and soft option. Or if it's raining, 2 different types of wet tires. Your soft tires have the most grip, but they wear out the fastest. And your hard ones are on the opposite end of that spectrum. And medium is medium.
Interesting.
When they say my tires are done, what do they mean?
The drivers will feel when the grip is going off.
Choosing the right tires at the right time is a big part of a team's race strategy.
Eyes on the phone now.
3.
Your repairs have been scheduled.
Nice.
Yeah. During a race, you'll hear drivers talking to only one person, their race engineer. But that race engineer is also talking to a massive team of strategists, all trying to figure out the best way to win. Some of those strategists are at the track, but most of them are actually back at the factory, in a big room like this. It looks like...
Yeah. I mean, I guess that does make sense. I mean, they're getting all that analytical data, sent through, and I'm sure it goes through a wide variety of different, AI automated like computering systems and stuff like that to that pre-runs tests, and they're comparing it with different, different results.
Well,
Different test runs.
I'm not surprised that they have a team that size, but I'm just surprised that it's at the warehouse and not like a large truck that's at the field location, because that's such a distance for information to travel that could be interrupted because of something stupid in the air, So that's why I'm like, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just like that during like their practice sessions and stuff like that while they're doing like they're practicing their laps and stuff like that. I wonder if
I mean,
if it's
that could
used
be a
just
thing.
during those moments and then during the actual races, it's maybe done a little bit differently. Maybe so. Okay.
NASA. And the people in this room aren't just thinking up plans, they're using supercomputers to run simulations about tons of possible outcomes.
It's millions even over the course of a race, and we run them on the Oracle Cloud. So
Millions?
millions, yeah.
Those simulations are taking into account weather and heat of the brakes and tire performance and everything every other driver is doing, and then feeding those simulations back to the track.
Their aim is always to try and win a race. So that's kind of thinking about what's the best thing for you to do, but also
It's crazy that they come out and say that it's like these are guys that like could work at NASA or people that have worked at NASA that now work here. It's that high of you got to be that skillful and have that level of like recognition, intelligence to be able to work there. And it all makes sense, but it's just like wow.
Yeah, I always knew Oracle was into data and just a lot of different things, but I never knew it was like that. I never knew it was like that because Oracle they used to be the sponsor for the Warriors at the original stadium in Oakland, so that's why it was called Oracle Arena. It was named after them originally.
Oh, I got you. I didn't even put two and two together.
what might your competitors do, and so how might you need to therefore react to that?
This is all real time?
Yes, exactly. So we're constantly talking. The intercom on the pit wall is constantly lighting up. There's always somebody in one of your ears. So actually the headphones have dual, so you can hear one car in one ear and the other car in the other ear. So you're always hearing multiple conversations.
That's gotta be so hard to like manage mentally. You're telling me you're getting two different feedbacks at the same time from two different people.
Two different people, yeah.
And you're having to transfer to what information you're spreading to? Yeah, that's insane.
Trying to take them all in. It's basically like playing a board game. That's how I always think of it.
Most complicated board game
in the world. A
winning Formula One car isn't just about the tech inside that car. It's also about the tech behind every move that the car makes, every lap of the race. But the thing I think is so cool is that even with all of those strategists and supercomputers and simulations, at the end of the day, it still comes down to human skill.
It's hard sometimes to focus, because you have
to human skill.
It's hard sometimes to focus, because you have always someone on your ear asking you questions and you are just trying to focus as much as possible. But you have to have that capacity,
Everything that we've talked about, from design to build to paint to simulation to test, it's not just happening once. A Formula One car is never done. A team is constantly learning and changing and rebuilding between every single race, over and over and over again.
In the end, one of the things that strikes me most about Formula One and Formula One cars is that they're so much like a Lego set. It really has to be all of the individual, perfectly formed pieces coming together to make a whole thing. This is a theme I've noticed with a lot of my episodes of Huge If True. Technology has always been a story of human ingenuity, but more and more, it's also the story of human collaboration. I think that's really the story of a Formula One car, and
really
the story of so much of the technology that we all enjoy. I think there's something really magical about a team of engineers and designers and strategists and athletes and all of these people coming together to build something that gets better and better and better every single time. I find a lot of hope in that. If we can build cars like these, what else can we do?
Very, very cool.
Definitely good video. She does good. I like her video. Great breakdown, great information. I mean, the process, that's the way it's put together, does a great job. Great editing as well.
Yeah. For me, what I love about videos like this is in F1, I think it's a little more known about like how the advancements are and building the cars and stuff like that. But for your just casual viewer, like someone that, is just watching Formula One for the first time or any racing event or something like that, you don't think about the little things like this or the little things that are actually big. You just think about the race and the drive itself and them moving around the corners, going crazy speeds, turning, whatever. But you don't think about what goes into actually building a car like this, developing a game plan like they do, organizing a team around it. And like she said, the communication of different experts in different fields to collaborate and make something special in what Red Bull has done to the highest tier, to the highest level now for, I think, 3 years.
Yeah, it's impressive. It still trips me out that they go to a whole other country to test the cars out. Like you go to a country in Asia to test the cars out. I'm like, why there? Why is it so far away? What's so special about going out there? or just land that they didn't have the space where they're originally at?
Good question. I have not a clue. Not a clue. Maybe somebody in the comments will be able to tell us. I just know I'm glad that we're able to do this. Just get a little refresher again before we get ready for the race that's going to be taking place in Las Vegas on this coming Saturday. I know we're definitely hyped about it. It'll be my first time ever watching a full F1 race, so I'm definitely excited. We're hoping to have, I believe we're going to have one guest that's supposed to be joining us, so make sure y'all stay tuned. Come join us for it. We'll have a good time, have a couple drinks, celebrate, have some fun. Now, you got any closing words?
Still, like I said, once again, just a great video. She does a great job with her and her team, and impress as much information that goes into building an F1 cars. It's pretty impressive, pretty cool.
Absolutely. Well, for now, guys, we'll catch y'all in the next one. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you later. Cheers.
Peace out.